The problem we've got now is who would want to take it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've probably got managers sitting there thinking, not now.
Yeah.
It's Thursday afternoon. Manchester United did, of course, lose to Grimsby last night in the EFL Cup. So I guess the first question is, how's everyone feeling, Wayne?
It was difficult to watch, I think. I did feel there was a lot of positives in the Arsenal game, first game of the season, and then Fulham was a disappointment in the performance, and then to go to Grimsby and lose in the cup with a lot of the starting 11 involved in the game, the best players involved in the game. Just the way they lost, it was disheartening. There's something not right. I think that's clear. I think the manager said that after the game, and I think that's clear for everyone to see that there's something not right there.
No, I'm surprised Wayne's just not like completely just going all in on Everton now. Like that's it. Like just cutting ties with a club. Like because honestly, I wouldn't blame anybody. Listen, you could talk about the tactics, you could talk about this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, none of the players on that pitch should be losing to a fourth division side. Like you should be going out there 11 men. If you paid £70 million for a striker, you shouldn't be having to tell him like how to score a goal against Grimsby. Like, and this is, I don't know, anybody that's in the Premier League should be beating lower league opposition like that.
Yeah, okay, that can happen. No, it can happen. We lost to Crawley years back in the cup, and but the difference is, everyone looking at that game, they know it's a one-off.
Yes.
So the issue now is we're seeing very similar performances, similar results, and it's getting to, even though it's only 3 games into the season, it's getting to a point now where you're like, what is going on?
Okay, for those of you listening and watching at home, we actually recorded this podcast on Wednesday, but given what did happen at Grimsby on Wednesday night, we thought we had to jump on and react to it all. We've got some brilliant transfer stories coming up for you, but let's just dive into it a little bit more. We're going to try and keep it short and sweet, but go on, Kay. What is concerning you the most? Because there's so many different aspects and ways we could go with this, as Wayne's just mentioned.
Well, it's just everything that Wayne said, and also the fact that, it's August 28th, and realistically, we can only win one competition now, which is the FA Cup. Like that's the only competition we're still in. I can't see us winning
Premier League.
No, you're joking. We'll be lucky to stay up at this rate. But it's concerning when you see your manager rocking back and forth on on the bench when the penalties are happening and not even watching them, and his comments after the match weren't instilling you with any sort of confidence.
That's the biggest concern. The biggest concern is the manager saying that his words after the game were damning on the players, and obviously being in a position where I've been in that dressing room, if your manager comes out with them words, there's something broken. I think what we forget, he's 40. He's a young manager, and Manchester United is so different to where he's been before. And you come in, there's the media team, the commercial team, the fans, the media. It's completely different, and there's a pressure with Manchester United which he will never have felt before. And when you're not winning games, that can start to get here, and it looks like he was a breaking point for him.
But do you think there was any truth in the things he was saying about the players? Because I was looking at some of the players, like Sesko, star striker, you bought him in for £70 million, and then he's taking a penalty like 10th.
Yeah, that's crazy. He should be 1 or 2, really. They're taking a penalty, but I've never known a player to go into a football pitch and not try and win the game for his teammates, for the manager. I've had, I think it's well documented, me and Alex Ferguson had a bit of a falling out, but I'll go on that pitch and give everything I've got for the team, for him, that's for the fans. So I don't think the players weren't tired. Maybe was they a bit complacent? Maybe they've gone there thinking, it's a League 2 team, which can happen. You think, we'll just turn up and win the game. That can happen, and then before you know it, the game's got away from you. So it happens. It'll happen again, probably in the next round to someone else. But just where Manchester United are at the minute, it's hard to take, really.
Do you know what one thing that's really annoying me is when you see that sort of attitude in a striker, that to go 10th in a penalty shootout, I'm like, are you the right sort of player for Man United?
Whose decision is that? Is that on the player or is that on the manager?
No, that's the player. Because a manager would never put a player up to go first or second if the player didn't want to take a penalty. So I think he clearly didn't want to take a penalty. So that'll definitely be on the player. It's strange to have a striker who doesn't want to take penalties. Is crazy, and maybe that shows you a bit of, and I hope not, but a bit of his character, and I don't know, but if you're a forward, you should be wanting to take that penalty.
No, as a fan, I'd want to see some sort of reaction. I'd want to see, but Burnley, for me, if I don't see the players coming out with a bit of fire, with a bit of impetus to try and do well, then I don't know what I can say about this club after that, because it's looking like we're on a downward spiral and nobody can sort of try and stop it.
Yeah, but that's how it used to, like, when teams used to come to Old Trafford, you that's what you'd say. You wouldn't even talk about tactics. You'd say they should be relentless and outrun them, outpower them. And that's why we used to score so many late goals, because the opposition were dead on the feet. So for them not to do that every game, especially at Old Trafford, is crazy. I think there's just a little bit too much rotation going on, and players are getting a little bit lost. And when we lose the ball, there's massive gaps and spaces, and it's exactly it's a carry on from what happened last season. And if it carries on like that, then unfortunately, I don't see how it moves forward.
I was going to say, what is the way forward for Ruben Amorim? What is the way forward for Manchester United? Is that the same thing? Because watching his post-match interview last night, I mean, I've been the reporter in that situation many times, and if he came out like that, you're going, wow, this is incredible. But he felt like he was talking himself into something and then talked himself out of something. And it feels like he was trying to send a message to his players, but was he also trying to tell the board something? It felt like it was all quite confused. Do you feel like, Kay, there is a way forward for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United long term? Is this going to work out?
The only way there's a way forward is if he wins games, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's winning games. His comments were, "We'll look at the next game and then we'll sort it out in the international break." To me, that seems like he's saying, "We'll sort out my exit."
When you're doing an interview at the end of a game, you have to protect your players, whether you want to or not. And you can be honest with the players and have a go at them in the dressing room, but you have to protect the players.
Wayne was messaging me yesterday in the group saying, "Stay strong," and I was like, well, I was ripping my hair out. What is there left to stay strong about? Like, I've been strong for ages now. Look, it's one of those as well. Like, we get rid of him, and you're in the process of another rebuild, right? And are you going to go for a manager that plays a similar system as him, or are you going to go for a manager that plays a different system? And it feels a bit like disjointed. There doesn't seem to be any sort of continuity. And who's really out there in a manager market right now that you could bring in?
The problem we've got now is who would want to take it, which is crazy to say that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's you've got one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you've probably got managers sitting there thinking, not now.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's how quick it's changed, and listen, I'm there a lot at the club with my boys, and want the club to succeed and be successful, and I think it will get back, and no doubt about that. It's too big a club not to, but when you're in it in this moment, it is very difficult to watch.